Hello, Sylvia.
Hello, Anthony.
We are doing this. This is Sylvia is a conscious channel, and she'll be bringing through some entities called the Group of 100. And they've asked us just as a mini update, a Q&A session. This is approximately about 20 minutes long, and today's date is the 13th of the 1st, 2025.
Okay, that sounds great. So let me just connect in and off we go. Greetings, dear souls. How are you today? Do you have some questions for us?
Yes, I do. Uh, You've asked for a sort of we're sort of interested in just a general update of what's actually happening in 2025 right at the moment, because we seem to be going through a lot of uh, issues. Can you comment maybe just very lightly on the fire in LA?
We are rolling over ourselves with laughter. There's a very large assembly I have with me here because when you say a light update on the issues of 2025, uh, we do not mean to be disrespectful because, of course, the world will be a completely different place at the end of 2025. And there is much change for the inhabitants of planet Earth, and it will be constant. And it will involve upheavals, some some for none, others will have their lives, their houses, their living completely changed from the inside out. Everybody is exactly on their own place in their sort of soul journey, on the ascension journey. This is exactly where every being has chosen to be according to their soul contract and is at the moment. So, this is why, from neighbor to friend, people will be experiencing very different shifts or perceptions of the shifts in your reality this year. Those who have been studying the change or journeying alongside this great period of history will not necessarily be so shocked or perhaps simply slightly more prepared than those who know nothing or who know less. That is a fairly obvious equation, which is why we have suggested staying open hearted and secure in your group of friends and family, and with strong boundaries, as it were, energetic and possibly physical, to keep your security and your safe and your well being secure at this time. Is that good advice for you?
Yes, that's fine. Is there any particular guidance for New Zealand?
Well, you asked us about the fires in Los
Hmm.
Angeles,
Okay.
so we will answer this question.
Hmm.
Um, just to contextualize it, to say that there is indeed a world war uh, happening, which many are not aware of. It is ultimately a war for the mind, World War III. It has been played out uh, through the media, through the television screens, through layers and layers of deception. And so the general populace may not still be aware of this war, but it is an important journey mankind is on to move into sovereignty and returning to full ownership and full alignment with their own conscious being as separate from any beliefs dictated by, as it were, the state, the government, the peer group, the pressure, the political favourites. It is very important at this time for each person to seek their own clarity. In the situation of the fires, it is true that many people are having their homes destroyed and their livelihoods destroyed, and it is indeed what many might call a shocking event, especially as it turns out that there have been great deceits and injustices within the insurance industry, which suggests that many people will not be able to even get their house restored to them. The overview of this is that it falls directly in alignment with the astrology of this moment. The astrology of 2025 is extremely powerful, with Pluto moving into Aquarius. This is the transformer. This is the planet that brings up the shadow, the darkness, to be revealed, to be cleared. And Aquarius does it in a very unusual way. So this is a time for shocks and surprises. The water drama, the water debacle, you might say, in Los Angeles, where it turns out that the fire department is ill-equipped and run by a rather unruly bunch, that much disorganization and chaos is happening as a result of this. This is to be seen by the people and will be seen by the people, both local and worldwide, as a serious breakdown of community support by the local community powers that be, heading right up to the government. Why have these people not been provided for? Why have these local structures not been put in place to be ready for such an event in an area where fire is indeed known to rush through these areas historically? So there are very valid questions to be asked now of the governing structures, why these sufficient care for humankind has not been put into place. In terms of perhaps who is doing the fires, these are certainly man-made, as it were, both by the forces of the dark and the forces of the light, the two parties who are indeed involved in what we call this World War III. So each party has reasons for generating. The dark, as we know, is just pretty desperate at this time and are wanting to cover their tracks. Fire is a very good way to remove evidence, and that is in your house, in the house of these very wealthy people who have been allied to dark activities. Also, the what you would call the white hats, are also very busy clearing out what is called the underground levels of the county of Los Angeles, which is well known in the circles that deal with this information to house many underground facilities of used for illegal trafficking of children and adults, and a lot of experimentation, scientific experimentation on humans, and just generally the very dark activities which is now fairly common knowledge for those who seek the information, that has been happening worldwide in these vast expanses which have been built by the Dark Ones underground, sometimes the size of cities. Indeed, this county is, as it were, loaded up with tunnel systems and places where such dark activities have happened, and fire, as is earthquake, also used to clear these facilities, because the ultimate goal of the victors of World War III will be to bring about a planet Earth which is free to ascend fully into the fifth dimension, which has long been prophesied, which means that as it travels to the fifth, it is shrugging off the dark. And this, however horrific it can be for the people involved who have lost homes and perhaps families, but certainly material goods, it can be quite devastating for these people. But the hard thing for the normal person who has lost so much to understand is that, in a way, you could say they are a casualty of a war. But because the war is not general knowledge as yet, there is no context for these people to understand, which means that it is a harsh time for many as these mighty changes to the landscape happen. We have seen that some people refer to this or put this in the box of the climate change, but it is to be assured that there are other forces at work, certainly to do with climate, but only manipulated in this sense. Is this helpful?
Yes, yes. So what you're saying is that the winds are a little bit more than unusual in this situation.
Oh, the origin of the fire we are talking about.
Okay.
This is there are special weapons used by dark, and the light forces may well have them also, to that create these fires, these unusual fires which burn steel and metal, just as was seen in the Hawaii incidents. This is no ordinary fire. And this, in fact, is what provides the proof for those who are seeking scientific proof as to the nature of why these fires are so ferocious and voracious.
Is there any sort of guidance you can give for, say, New Zealand?
Well, New Zealand, as we journey into this year, you feel as if you are on the edge, but unbeknownst, there are many layers of intelligence and action in this small country, which to some extent are very much at the core of the current battle between the dark and the light. New Zealand has been used by many of the dark, what we call the elite, the global elite, as a place that they chose to run to, or to retreat to, in exactly such circumstances as are happening now, for example, which is the return of the President 45 to run the United States. So, because people know that they will not fare well under this new leadership. So, in fact, New Zealand is, as it were, it is not compromised exactly, but it is certainly implicated, and certainly it is not free from the touch or involvement with these global energies. People are indeed, it is expected that the retreating ones will find their way from the north to the southern hemisphere, through Australia, down through Australia to New Zealand. There were retreat places for them originally in the Antarctic. So both of these countries were, in a way, portals with tunnels, etc., that allowed them to retreat to these places. So even though it just feels like local politics is just going along in its normal way, there is much going on under the surface in these countries of Australia, of New Zealand. There is great change happening here. The governance of these countries has already changed, although that has not fully been made aware to the peoples of the land. And indeed, this in time, this may give way to republics for both of these countries. This is one of the possibilities. But for now, they are part of a worldwide mission of the light, and they are included, New Zealand is included in the, as it were, being watched over by the light, and the presence of perhaps some foreign military here, which has been going on actually under the radar for a few years. There has been layers of cleaning out in New Zealand that has been going on very much below the public radar. So it is easy for the unaware to stay unaware. However, this will increase in the coming year. And indeed, if there is such a time as a global broadcast happening, New Zealanders, like every other person on the planet, will be finding out, will certainly be getting an update of the truth of what has been happening in our realm, and also the truth about the nature of the realm we call Earth. So yes, it is a time of turbulence and change. New Zealand is blessed in many ways because it already has small communities. It has small communities who care for each other, and it is a land where much food is grown, and if necessary, people will be able to self-support and survive in this extremely fertile environment. So yes, indeed, there are indeed advantages, and certainly currently what appears to be a more easeful situation for the country of New Zealand. However, the reality is that any layers of historic mind control is currently being eradicated from everywhere on the planet. And New Zealand is no different from this. The easy materialism that countries such as Australia and New Zealand share has given rise to a sense that we are perhaps special or blessed, or it's okay, we live these rather blessed lives where we don't have to take anything too seriously. And we are noticing that already in the pulse of the nation, this is changing. And people are beginning to understand that they must take things personally and more seriously, and every voice must count. And any form of structure which does not allow the individual their sovereign and innate rights must every individual, this is, to be allowed their sovereign and innate rights, not just picking and choosing who are the ones who get their rights honoured. This is an issue in New Zealand which will be playing out in months and possibly years to come.
Very good. In relation to rights, Facebook have now taken off the fact checkers, doing a very similar thing as X, the X platform, X Twitter.
Yes.
Is there a comment on this? Because also with YouTube, will this be occurring with YouTube?
It will happen across the board in what could be a very short period of time once the powers of light are reinstated in running the primary cultures of the country and what once it is known, because as again this stifling of people's speech, this has been made an issue of to hopefully get people angry and to perhaps, as it were, make them feel all the things it makes a person feel when they are imprisoned or attacked or approached within their own home, as such as happening as in the UK, about things they put on their Facebook posts. This is, of course, acute injustice, and it is needing to be, as it were, somewhat drummed in to some people to assist them in this process of understanding that this cannot continue. And certainly in the higher realms of the fifth dimension, this cannot continue because it is impinging on the free will of humankind. And this was the contract for the beings of Earth, was that in the prime creation mode, this was to be a free will planet. And that is still the contract which the Galactics and other light beings of assistance are certainly honouring on this planet now.
Excellent. I think that sort of covers most of the
Very good.
topics I think we want to talk about today for the moment.
Lovely. That's good. We'll just have a wee tune in. Is there anything else to say that we wish to share? We say, be of good heart. Be of good heart, and be of good heart, people of New Zealand. Love your communities, love your friends, continue to create the bonds, deepen the bonds between your like-minded communities and friends. And as you are listening to this message, we assume that you are already some way into finding your tribe and to creating structures of mutual support with these people. It is a fine and blessed land, and it is very worthy of the people to feel so passionately about the land and keeping it healthy and strong. But also the voice within New Zealand has always been a little muted. Feelings, the stock in this country comes from the Stoic settlers, the Stoic Celtic stock, the original settlers, and this has brought a certain shutdown of feeling and expression in the nation. This is changing as New Zealand is now moving into becoming a very cosmopolitan and global melting pot of all cultures. But even within some Asian cultures, it is not, feeling is not something which is overtly expressed and discussed, unlike the Mediterranean cultures. So this time of people opening their hearts and learning to share what is in them is as political as it is personal at this time. And we do encourage all beloved inhabitants of this beautiful land, which has a great role to play on the future of planet Earth, to keep deepening the sharing and keep using the words, expressing their truth, and asking questions. We will leave it there for you today. Blessed be, and blessed be.
Thank you.
Lovely. That's them going for it. Beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Sign off.